Welcome to SuperCoach. How's it going, guys? Hope you're well out there. Look, we got 12 days and got to start pumping some videos out. So we're going to take a look at the top 10 mids today. I've done that for the forwards and the defenders, just with the top 8. So yeah, if you want to see how I'm ranking them for your premiums, or even just if you've got a draft coming up, feel free to check that out. But yeah, I'm definitely not getting through those club previews, am I? They just certainly got away from me. But went to the footy last night, watched Geelong and Essendon, so shout out to the boys from Joey's. I think they were a couple of rows in front who said g'day to me. It's always nice when people say g'day, so appreciate the boys. One of the fellas is locking in John Newcomb. He was red hot on him. I don't know, but look, that was his lock for the week, boys. But otherwise, I thought Nick Martin just looked an absolute dream. He looks like an absolute lock, and I just want to put this out. Cammy Rayner. Now, he's playing mid. Even when Neil came back in, no one's really talking about him. We're talking about Fife and Jordan, even Harms, Billings, sort of for our F2, 3, 4, whatever it might be. I'm just saying, Rayner, he's always looked like a guy who could play mid if he builds that tank up. I don't know. I don't want to get too carried away, but with our forward line the way it is, maybe. Just maybe. So, and just with the club previews, I think I will get through them on TikTok just because they're so much easier to do. I just do them for like a minute or two, and then I'll upload those onto YouTube, I reckon. That's probably the plan. I will be doing some league code giveaways pretty soon. I will put out probably a separate video saying when I'll upload the codes, and then you can work out which ones suit you best. I will do some random giveaway ones probably on my live sessions. We're back live on Tuesday night. So throughout the season, we'll be on a Wednesday. Next week, not 100% sure. It'll probably be Wednesday. But yeah, I think we'll just try and get back to the routine of the Wednesdays. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Yeah, Spewing missed out on Fred again tickets as well. That was absolutely brutal. It happened very quickly. All of a sudden, he's having shows in Melbourne. Would have been so many people trying to get those tickets, and yeah, just missed out. But so keen to see that bloke one day, but we'll see. Not yet. But look, exciting times. We're starting to get some games rolling through, starting to watch plenty of footy. So yeah, it'd really get into the crunch now where we're honing in on our side. So the midfield, you do not want to get it wrong. The biggest points are scored through the middle, so you want to nail those premiums. Now, I'm going to go through my top 10 mids, like I said, and there's not too many new names, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. And look, the bloke who I think will be the number one mid this year from an average point of view is Errol Goulden. I just think he's going to take his game to the absolute next level. I think he'll average in the 120s. And look, a few people probably getting scared off because his buys are not ideal. And I may end up being scared off too, because as people have mentioned, my side isn't overly buy-friendly. We've changed that up a bit over the last week, so I'll certainly let you guys know that one soon. But yeah, it's a tough one. The buys, they piss me off. I hate having to think so much about the buys when you just want to pick players that you think are good. But anyway, it is what it is. Goulden, I think he could win the Brownlow. He isn't my Brownlow tip. That guy will come up in a couple of moments. But number 2... you just can't go Bontempelli. Insane year last year, and I think he'll be back around the mark. I can't see him averaging a touch under 130 again, but he is an absolute superstar. I don't have to spend too much time on telling you how good he is, but I've got him as my number 2 mid for this year. And number 3, and a bit of a bolter, and that is Tom Green, and he is my Brownlow selection in 36 or 26% of sides, so he's pretty popular. So is Goulden, so is Butters, and certainly Bontempelli. Even Petrarca's got a bit of interest. But yeah, I've got Green in at number 3. I just think inside Bull, I think he's going to be the best inside mid in the competition by year's end. You could make a small argument he is already. But yeah, I think the way he goes about it is slightly different to Goulden and Bontempelli. And I just could see him averaging, a touch under 120 or around the mark. I certainly think he'll lift his average of, what was it, about 111, 112? Yeah, I think he'll average, above 115. So I'm pretty excited by his prospect. Let me just check my notes as to who I've got in at number 4. He had a slight ankle concern last night, but Zach Butters, I think, will continue to dominate, take that average up to around 115 or even around similar to last year. Would do him very nice. So He's a star. I mean, we certainly saw him come on in leaps and bounds last year, and I think he'll just continue to do that in the prime of his career. Should have another dominant season. And right beneath him, split in the middle between Goulden and Butters, LDU I've got in at number 5. And you guys will know how much I love these fellas because I did a video, one of my first TikTok videos this year was about Goulden, Green, Butters, LDU. I think it is a bit of that next generation. It's the generation right now. You know, it's not as much about Oliver or Neil or Cripps anymore. These are the best mids in the comp now, I think, and they've got that inside and outside game. Yeah, LDU's body's let him down at times, but I really do think that he's going to continue on to be a superstar of our game, and I think we might see his career best season. I reckon he'll average around the 115 mark. It's just about the fitness. This is a guy that if he is fit, could probably average 120, but I don't know if he'll do that in a poor North Melbourne side. Probably, yeah, the only two drawbacks for him is weaker side, how much tagging will he cop and how will he deal with it, but not too many sides actually tag now, and obviously the body, which has been well talked about. In at number 6, we've just got to go a bit of a tried and true, and that's Rory Laird. I mean, he had a sneaky good year again last year. It was a bit down because he had averaged around 120 previously, but I think he's just consistent as always. Doesn't get much love as a mid, but I think he is an absolute gun and will continue to do so. He's very consistent. Caused a few people headaches because I think it was last year, was it, where he started the year with a 50, I think it was. But yeah, aside from that, had a flawless year. So I think he'll continue to do that and doesn't have too many flaws in his game. I just think he's going to continue to average around that 115 mark and will just be slightly behind those top 5 guys. And another fellow who had a really good year last year and who I'm putting in at number 7 is Petrarca. Very popular. I think he is one of the most damaging players in the game. Hasn't always been an out-and-out superstar scorer for SuperCoach. Even when he was regarded as a top 5 player in the game, he was still averaging around like 108, 110. But he really did lift it last year, and he's so damaging in the forward 50 as well. I mean, I think we were always hoping Petrarca would just be full-time mid. And he was for a while, and he still largely is. But some of his best, most damaging scores in footy happened when he did split it, and he kicked like 2 or 3, sometimes 4, and had 25 to 30. So he had a real hot run through, I think, the middle period of the last year, and it's hard to go past him. This is probably where it started to get a little tricky. I've left Oliver out of these considerations because I just don't have a clue what he's going to produce. But yeah, he could be a guy that takes a long time to get going, or he could just go straight back into it. Be really interesting to see where people have him in the draft setups. But yeah, we've got 3 more names, and this was a bit trickier. There'll be one surprise in there, I reckon, but it does get a little bit trickier from here. I've gone Touk Miller for the next spot in my mids, and where is he? There he is. So I've got him in at number 8. I don't see him going back to absolute 120s like he once did, but I think around that 110 to 112, 13 is really possible. I think Gold Coast midfield is a bit more even now with the likes of Flanders and Anderson and Rowell. I don't think Miller's going to have to do the power of work that he once had to, but I still think worth putting in the top echelon of mids. It's really tough these last few spots because you've got guys like Zach Merritt, Jordan Dawson, Liberatore. Like, I felt bad, even Sarong, for leaving some of them out. But in at number 9, I've got Josh Dunkley. And again, just a guy who never gets much love, but I just think he continues to pump out great scores. And he could honestly average around 115 plus again. I'd probably see him around that 110 to 115. So yeah, it's a tough one because he sort of overtook Neil, really, in just the way he played last year, even though Neil took out the Brownlow. So that's more from a SuperCoach point of view. Like, I think a Brownlow medalist to only average 110 was sort of unusual, and I know a few people were kind of like, how did Neil win the Brownlow? He got votes when he only had 20 touches or whatever, but wasn't Neil's best Brownlow SuperCoach performance, but Dunkley was the pick of the Lions in terms of those midfielders for them in SuperCoach. And rounding it out, and this is perhaps a slight surprise, and I'm not even sure where he is for 92, But I've got Nick Martin in at number 10. Quite a few people said, oh, where's Nick Martin in your top 8 defenders? It was like, he's not a defender yet, so I couldn't include him in that. Yes, we all think by round 6 he'll definitely be that, but you can't really put the bloke in the top 8 defenders until he actually is a defender. You just never know what's going to happen. So I thought, let's include him in the midfielders. And that might be a little harsh to put Martin over like a Libba or a Dawson or Sarong, Brayshaw, Neil, Parrish, any one of those. But I wanted to give him a mention, and I do genuinely, I'm not just throwing him in there for fun, but I do think, watching him last night at the Cattery, he's just going to roll around averaging like 110, 112. He could just really rack it up. I mean, he has a high ceiling, I think, now. If he plays that role, it's an absolute armchair ride for scoring points. So, pretty exciting. That's how I'm seeing the top 10 mids. It's really hard to rank them because you could mount cases for blokes to be in at number 5 that I've left out, depending how you view it. I do find it difficult to really hone in on exact rankings, and even it's not like you can pick the first 4 guys because it's all about a salary cap. So we've got to find value somewhere, like even someone like Jack Steele, worth a mention, currently in my team at the moment. So yeah, it's all about finding that value, but we're starting to get close to it now. I'll take a look at the top end rucks over the next week, and then yeah, I think we'll probably just go through. I like to again go through each line and look at any player that's in at least 3% aside, so they're in some sort of consideration, and give my 2 cents worth on them. So I think we'll do that. So we'll probably have some league codes and stuff. You know what? If you've watched it all the way through to this part of the video, let's give you a league code right now. Do I have any free? I don't. So how are we going to do this? Let's just create a Shorty SuperCoach league, shall we? We'll do a 20-team one. Shorty SuperCoach 4, is that right? How many have we got right now? Oh no, we're up to number 3. All right, there you go. So you guys are probably fast forwarding the video right about now just to get to it, but let's create the league. And there you go. So there's a new Shorty SuperCoach league. If you want to join and play along, got to reward those who watch it all to the end of the video. 153935. So feel free to join. And yeah, all the best. Have a good night. Cheers.